All right, welcome everyone to today's webinar, Navigating Tomorrow's Community Trends. We're thrilled to have you join us for this Jeopardy-style deep dive into some of the most exciting trends shaping online communities. I'm Bam, Product Marketing Manager at Social Plus, and I'm your moderator for today. And I'm joined by two of our amazing speakers, Advi and Lindley. Both of you, may we have a quick hello or an introduction for our audiences today?
Avi, why don't you go first?
What's up? It's Advi. If you have joined our webinars before, you are familiar with me probably. I head up our consulting and customer success departments here at Social Plus. And today, my other competitor is Lindley.
Hi guys, I'm Lindley. So happy to be here today. I currently lead the product team at Social Plus. So yeah, I'm pretty excited to see what we have in store today.
Yeah, great. Okay, awesome. So I guess let's get started. Abby and Lindley, are you ready to dive in to our really fun engagement today?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yep.
Okay, so we've broken the discussion into three categories: moderation, monetization, and community building. And under each category, you'll see questions worth 100, 200, 300, or 400 points. And here's how it works: our speakers will take turns choosing a question to discuss from each category and a point value. And unlike the traditional game, there's no buzzer, so just insightful answers and some lively discussions. And for the audience, feel free to drop your thoughts or questions in the chat as we go along. All right, so let's really get started this time. So, who wants to go first? Who wants to choose the first question?
Oh, I'll choose the first question.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Do it.
Uh, let's go with community building 400.
Ooh.
Oh, okay, so you've chosen the big one. Okay.
Go big or go home. I like it.
So, our first question, 400 points. We have, with so many tools available in community building, how can businesses get started and which industries would benefit most? And what kind of trends can we should we keep in mind with this?
Avi, you wanna take this question?
You chose it, and then you want me to be the
I
one
thought
to
I
answer.
was supposed to choose and you were supposed to answer.
Okay.
That
No,
works
no, we
too.
can both give our answers either way. But I mean, okay. This is basically a lot of questions like combined into one, basically. But okay, with so many tools available in community business building, how can businesses get started? Okay, first you get started by evaluating your needs, right? What is it that you actually need? What is it that your end users need? What industries benefit the most? All of them benefit, right? But how you really do it is you analyze also based on your industry. Based on your industry, there might be one use case that is more popular than others, right? For example, a lot of our clients in the betting industry, they have that use case of live chat and having live chat during the games and allowing users to bet in the live chat. That's a use case of the industry that is really popular amongst the actual end users versus maybe in our health and wellness sort of clients, you have groups and discussion forums that are kind of, the use case that's the primary one. So I think that changes in terms of what's the use case that is applicable and what are the tools that maybe you should prioritize implementing first before branching out into the others. But other than that, I mean, I think it's very industry and regional dependent. So in your region, there might be a specific type of thing. For example, across Latin America, we've seen chat is more popular than social, right? One thing that's true, I think, across the board is that video has become one of the most popular sort of mediums of content, and this is true whether it's short form video, stories, reels, any sort of content in that regard. And I think that's something that's going to continue to go upward right now. So that's just, I think, my view on it, that video is always a safe bet in terms of what's there to implement, and you can always find a good way to find applicable content for your sort of use case or your sort of industry that's still video uh, transmitted in in a video medium, basically. I know. Lovely thoughts.
I think when it comes to community building, I think a lot of uh, people or companies or businesses think Facebook first or maybe even Reddit, right? But we are seeing how there is a move towards having an in-app community simply because you have more control over your users, your users' data, and a very big benefit to having your own community in your app is that you get to control what your users are seeing, right? If you have communities within Facebook, they are just drowned out with so much other content out there. It becomes really, really saturated. I think there's also a lot of talks about, should you build it? Should you buy a product? And I think eventually it really comes down to like what you mentioned, Abby. What are your use cases? How do you plan to grow your community as well? Um, yeah, so that's my quick take on it.
That's some great insights. And so, like, to wrap it up, like for those who are looking to get started with community building, you should look into who our end users are, and any industry would benefit community, but it just depends on like how you analyze industry specific use cases. So with that, I'm quite interested to see how this topic would tie up with some of our next question. So let's see what our next question would be then. So here with our 3 different categories, now Advi, I'll let you pick and actually answer them.
Okay. Let's go with moderation for 200.
Okay, good choice. Safe and not 400. Okay, so you've chosen moderation. And the question is, what trends in community moderation are we seeing today, and how will they evolve in the future with growing online platforms and user interaction?
This is interesting. Lindley, you want to try?
Yeah. I think AI is pretty big right now. It has been big for a while, and I think we're seeing a lot of AI usage within community moderation. So when I think of moderation, you used to have the basic type of moderation where you would probably um, list out certain keywords to be banned from communities and whatnot. But now, when you use AI, you can craft out basically more sophisticated rules, to ban certain phrases and whatnot. And the more interesting trend is right now seeing how AI is trying to learn sentiments and nuances and intentions behind what people are trying to see, and not just relying purely on keywords, because people could be using languages and words that actually don't have a negative connotation. And I think while AI is still trying to get that right, this is why we also still see that human moderation and intervention is still quite required nowadays. It just, with AI, it just tends to cut down the amount of manual moderation that you need to do. Avi, what are your thoughts on this?
No, fair. I mean, I agree 100% with everything you said, right? Like, we've had machine learning for a while, we've had AI for a while. Gen AI has just given us the ability to contextually moderate a bit better, which is great. And like you said, now there's less human capital and resources that are required when you are kind of implementing a community tool and like trying to, and if you're worried about moderating it effectively, there are good AI solutions. This doesn't eliminate it completely, and it shouldn't eliminate it completely, at least yet. But in the near future, I'm sure.
Yeah,
Right.
and it seems like Mhm. Yeah, go ahead.
I think another point that is pretty interesting is and it comes back to understanding nuances, is maybe looking at how AI will be able to understand context, global context, local context, the values that people carry, right? I think that would be quite an interesting trend to look into, to see where it's heading to. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
it seems like AI and manual moderation or human moderations are like the power couple here, and each of them complements each other, where AI is at scale and human moderation is here to make sure that we all understand the nuances. So that's some great insight. Anything else to add on to this question, you both?
ooh, no, I think that pretty much covers it from my end.
Okay, great. So I'm excited to see what our next question would be. And Lindley, your turn this time.
While we're on the topic of moderation, let's go with moderation 400.
Oh,
Oh,
you always pick the big one.
okay.
Oh, and it's long as
Goodness.
well.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Tools
So
like
your
Discord have
question,
created communities where users play a significant role in managing the environment. What impact does this have on community culture and relationship between platform owners and users? Oh, interesting. Um, it's good. It fosters a stronger relationship, and it's almost like bringing even more value to the users of your community, right? Discord is a good example of this, but honestly, like I think the best example for this I would take is probably Reddit, right? Like um, Reddit started the thing where you have different communities, you have different threads, and then the type of freedom that they are giving to the moderators there, who are just normal users and part people who are members of their community, but just have contributed a significant amount and are actually super passionate about whatever the subject is. So they kind of feel that onus and that responsibility, but also that sense of pride in being able to, help facilitate these sort of discussions and moderate them to the extent that they need to be moderated, right? I think it's always better to have your and this is whether and this is like like something we talk about with our clients too, whether it's like the actual users that you are empowering to do moderation, or whether you are even having them come from your company itself, the community managers or moderators. It's important that those people are passionate about whatever the subject is, right? Like it's important that those people have the ability to have genuine meaningful conversations with the community members so that they can actually collect feedback, they can actually interact, they can actually foster these sort of engagement and interactions that lead to further value down the road, right? So I mean, I think part of that is finding those super users and empowering them and making sure that they have the tools, the guidelines, and everything that they need so that they are able to push the community forward in a way. Yeah, I think
Do you
extremely
do
important.
you think the fact that Discord is more of a chat-based community means that the moderation style might be a bit different from group-based communities? Because when I think of Discord, I think of chat, and there's so many
Yeah,
real-time interactions, right? And
yeah,
yeah, so
for
I
sure.
feel like my personal experience in Discord communities is that the users are a lot more active in moderating, whereas in group-based communities, a lot of the majority of users tend to kind of wait for the official moderators to step in. And I'm
Yeah,
wondering if it's because chat-based communities tend to have or foster a tighter social bond just because they're constantly interacting, right? And maybe psychologically as well, that leads the members to kind of feel like they have a stronger responsibility in maintaining order within the chat group. What do you
for
think?
sure. For sure. I think the real time aspect to it, makes it so that it kind of needs to happen as soon as possible. So the two styles would be either you have like a large amount of super user public moderators that are doing the moderation, or like you saying you're empowering everyone to do it, or like a lot of the chat solutions, and I've seen some of our clients do this, is like if the same thing gets flagged multiple times by multiple users, then it gets auto deleted almost, right? With
Mm-hmm.
certain rules in place. So I think there's a few ways to accomplish it, but yeah, for sure. I think in chat based like communities, it becomes even more important to do it ASAP. Same thing with live video and the live chat on live video in a similar fashion. Um, yeah,
that's that brings up like a really great point. And I'm wondering what can group-based community really learn from, communities like chat and Discord? Like what can be transferred or like learned from here when it comes to moderation? Any thoughts on that? Or
Yeah, I
That
mean,
is a good question. Go ahead, Advi.
it's literally, I mean, the same similar point, right? And I think
Mhm.
this is a takeaway. Like, we're working with one of our clients in the beauty industry, and they've faced a similar thing where there's lots of posts and they want to use less moderation. So they want to implement this sort of rule of, okay, the same when something gets flagged 3 times by three different people, it should be automatically deleted and not need a moderator to kind of assess it, right? At least
Mhm.
for now, and then later the moderator can go and reverse it if they have to. But the idea being, that's exactly what Lindy was mentioning right now with the sort of chat based communities and that real time interaction. It becomes more dependent on the majority contributing to the success of it and by flagging and reporting. So I think that's one key takeaway, when it comes to the actual moderation of it, and in terms of moderation structure and how you do it. In terms of the type of content you're moderating, I think that stays fairly similar. Um,
Okay.
that across the board, um, because it's all photos, text, or videos at the end of the day, right?
Yeah,
I think the other
that's
thing with Discord communities that I find interesting is that the moderation actions that are taken by the community itself are sometimes rather small, right? It's in a way even helping to answer frequently asked questions and whatnot, and that they do that with the help of command bots, which is actually very interesting. They can just backslash something and then it answers this person's question, and I think that leads us to a bigger question of then how do you empower your community members to contribute in that way, right? And then to recognize them for it, because then you're also reinforcing that kind of positive behavior that everybody should take ownership over their community. Um, you know, so that's also something that I found quite interesting with Discord.
and that just
Yeah.
like further strengthened engagement and loyalty within your community, which is, the core of it, connection. So
Mm-hmm.
that's some really great insight and point here. So I think we've covered some great grounds with this question. So let's move on to some other parts of our Jeopardy style question. I believe it's your turn, Abby. Let's
Ooh,
pick the next question here.
okay. I'm gonna go in monetization
Okay.
because we haven't touched it yet as a category.
Fair.
Uh, for 200.
Okay, let's go for monetization 200. So what we have here is that the scarcity or exclusivity in digital products drive revenue growth in community platforms.
Ooh, interesting. Um, yes, for exclusivity. Yes, for scarcity as well. Depending on, I think, from my point of view, um, it's it's very similar to a discussion I was having a while ago. I mean, at World Football Summit, but it's around the same lines, right? Of like, when there's exclusive content, it might be behind the scenes footage, training footage from clubs or leagues for in the football industry, and you getting access to that, you will pay a little bit more for that. So that does drive that sort of revenue growth when it comes to that sort of digital product. Um, when it comes to actual products, like whether like if e-commerce of some type, that can really depend on the product, I guess, right? And what is it that makes it so scarce or limited? For example, if you're thinking about, like sneakerheads and their sneaker collections, and there's limited releases and drops of sneakers. Um, when you go to secondhand sneakerhead communities, it really, that's where the money is, right? There's a lot of money being made there. And if you can kind of help to facilitate that, that does drive that sort of revenue growth for those communities. Wow, imagine making an app for that and then taking a percentage commission on every sale that happens. Nike, you're missing out from by not doing a sneakerhead reselling app community. No, Lindley, what are your views on this?
Uh, I think if I look at my own shopping behavior, I'm probably more driven by exclusivity rather than scarcity. Because if I am not interested in a product just because it is scarce, doesn't mean it would drive me to purchase something. But when something is exclusive and I'm rather engaged with the brand, I want to know, hey, what are other people getting access to that I don't have, you know? And that would trigger me to, purchase a subscription. And you can actually see that subscriptions now are on the rise. I think every major social media platform has introduced it. It's already been there on Twitch, on Patreon for a very long time. Instagram launched it a couple of years ago. It's still picking up. But I think the key here as well is to make sure that whatever that you're offering that's deemed exclusive needs to, bring that extra value for your users.
Yeah, fair. I mean, value at the end of the day, that's exactly what's going to drive them there, right?
Yeah.
Because otherwise they can get it anywhere. If they can get it on any other platform, what is it that's setting your platform apart? And if it's having that extra added value, then for sure that's what's going to have to drive them there.
Yeah.
Good point. I like it.
Yeah. And especially with exclusivity, we're seeing a rise in, the publisher industry as well, in terms of subscription model. So that's a really great point here.
Yeah.
Great.
I have spent so much money on Substack publications.
Of course you do in the leading
Yeah.
product.
No, that was interesting. There was some news like network, I forget who it was, that just recently like said they're gonna stop getting like freelance contributors because they were seeing a rise in Forbes was cutting ties with freelance writers because of Google spam policies, and like basically in a way that sort of press or digital media is and authentic digital media is becoming more and more scarce as well. Do you think that's going to lead to a sort of rise in that? It's interesting because it ties well with like The Verge is one of these, media organizations that I've followed for a long time. And I read every day as a tech enthusiast. And they just also now introduced a subscription, right? Because I feel like they have set themselves apart as an authentic voice from the tech landscape, and so that's a very scarce thing that is there now. Do you think that that's sort of also an a weird way of doing this and driving that sort of revenue growth?
Yeah, that is an interesting way to look at scarcity because I was literally on the verge today and I was like, oh, I need to pay for this now. And I was like, I need to find a way to pay for this. But that's also like, I think what you've mentioned earlier, they have differentiated themselves from the market that people are actually willing to, pay for these kind of things because you can't get it anywhere else. Yeah.
So scarcity kind of like ties in with exclusivity in a way and work hand in hand in a way.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. All right. So I guess let's move on to the next question or topic. Lindley, I'll give the floor to
I don't know
you.
why I'm going to be picking all the big ones, but monetization 400 and let's go.
I was going for the big ones. Go girl power. All right, monetization 400. And here we have, how can platforms effectively use live commerce to create an engaging shopping experience? And especially like what kind of lessons can they learn from TikTok being in the live commerce space?
This is very interesting because now we are looking so much at how TikTok is recommending reels to people how they've personalized the entire experience around a user's interest, and the live streams as well that you are watching are, based on what you've been searching, and the products that they show and demo during a live stream is very relevant. And live streams in particular are very interesting because you get to showcase behaviors and aspects of products that you may not necessarily be able to type out in a comment or a review. So for example, I collect mechanical keyboards, right? And I was looking for a keyboard shelf that could house 3 mechanical keyboards. And I came across a live stream that actually showed how stable this keyboard stand was. Like, it didn't wobble at all. And I think that really just drove me to buy that thing immediately. Whereas, if I were to have just read about it, I wouldn't have been as convinced because I did not see it with my own eyes. Avi, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, live video and live commerce is booming. It's booming because you can validate everything. You can even ask something from the person who's doing the live stream, and they can do that and like see, like you might say, okay, can you move on this angle and let me check it out, and they might do that, and giving you that sort of ability to have that interaction and see that when you're not physically there in that environment. I also look at it, I think, in a way as like outside of the shopping aspect of it, right? Like, I think initially it's also very good to make sure that you have good content there, right? In whatever live stream you're doing, like you might not necessarily be, if you're selling a product, for sure, show the product, show how that product is being used, or in like do that sort of thing. But like, even if you don't have a product, you might be doing a live stream that is a educational live stream done by a doctor in your healthcare platform, and then what you are putting and selling there is your subscription renewal or something, where it's like saying, hey, get like a 6-month subscription for 30% off. And it's not an actual physical product, but it is part of your product or related to your product, right? um, Same way you might do it in a different industry, like in the betting industry. We have these tipsters, like Snai has tipsters that go live ahead of the game and broadcast in a live stream talking about, who it is that they think that you should bet on, allowing them to bet right there from the live stream itself through a commerce overlay and place that bet there. Is the same way, right? You're just trying to make sure that at the same time that they're having these video interactions, they're able to transact and make sure that they can do it as seamlessly as possible, right? So I think that's kind of the great thing that TikTok has done really well, is made that seamless. And then yeah, once you have volume and content, then for sure the discoverability aspect of it is what is so captivating in a way, right, for everyone. And that's why like everyone's just like, oh, what am I going to get next? This is why I cannot actually keep TikTok on my phone. So
Yeah. So it seems like there are two big lessons we can learn from TikTok here. First is like the seamless experience, like from, when purchasing a product, like from online to offline, and as well as the core of storytelling, how that can help drive revenue, even though there's no product, no physical product, but a subscription model. So yeah, these are some really great insights. And I feel like we've covered some really great grounds today, both on moderation, monetization, and some community building. So, yeah, is there anything else you guys like to add on to this at all? Because otherwise, I feel like it's appropriate for us to, wrap up our Jeopardy deep dive or game. All right.
nothing else from my end. I think all good.
All good for me too.
Yeah. Great. So I hope everyone here will be walk away with some fresh perspective for your community And I'd like to thank you both, Advi and Lindley, for joining us today, and for everyone who's joined us today as well in the audience. So if you guys have any question, feel free to connect with us. And yeah, we'll see you next time or next year. Yeah, this is actually our last webinar for the year when it comes to product webinars. So yay.
Happy holidays.
Yes. All right.
Awesome.
Thank you,
Thank you,
everyone.
guys.
Thank
Have a
you.
great day.